Welcome to Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. I'm Taylor.
I'm Savannah.
And welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wednesday. This week, there's some tragic news happened today, the day we're recording. Taylor, I'll let you say it.
Okay, Queen Elizabeth died today.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I have mixed feelings about her.
Yeah.
But may she rest in peace regardless. She was a girl boss. Can't deny that fact.
Yeah,
but
low
she
key,
did...
just because, a woman who
for
was
sure.
like
in power
a monarch for so long.
For that long. It's really, truly crazy. Unheard of. So, girl boss moment. But also, she did kill Princess Diana. And I want to cover that one day. So, just be on the lookout for that, because it's coming. That's my... it's a conspiracy theory. It's not... Royal family, please don't come after me. Anyways, moving along from that. Guys, so when this comes out, in 2 days, if you're listening on when it comes out on Wednesday, we will be going to Mothman Festival. Da-da-da!
Yay!
I'm so excited. I hope we get to see Mothman. I at least hope we get to talk to some people who are cool. And I hope we get some cool merch.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we're going to try our hardest to get out there and talk to some people and do a little bit of, interviewing maybe. We need to come up with some questions, probably some basic, like, have you ever seen Mothman?
Yeah.
We're going to do a little vlog, so look out for that on our YouTube whenever we
whenever we do it,
uploaded.
maybe a million years from now, but it'll be soon, hopefully. But yeah, we're super excited to go. So if you're anywhere near that place, come see us. We'll be there. Or don't. Anyways, that's kind of all the intro topics I have for this week. What about you?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we can get started.
Let's do it.
So this week I was actually going to cover something in Point Pleasant. But like sometimes you look up a story and there's no real background information, to support that it's haunted.
It's so true. And I hate that. And it's also not much of a story to tell.
Yeah. Actually though, we do have a little bit of a story. This hotel, Taylor actually called it.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanna mention what happened when you called this hotel, I was going to do a story on the Low Hotel.
The
in
lady,
Point Pleasant.
Listen, this is no offense to her at all, but when I called, me and Savannah did, I will admit, find out late that we were going to go to Mothman Festival. So we knew like the hotels were going to be like booked, but I just had to call around and see. And of course, like first things first, I'm going to try to stay in the haunted hotel. Right. So I called the hotel, and this woman, I was just like, hi, do you have any availability for the 17th? She literally just laughs in my face. And I was like, okay, well, sorry to inconvenience you. But yeah, so that was honestly kind of funny though.
Yeah, see, I had to mention it because I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, it was funny. I was like, I mean, I had to try, ma'am. I had to try. But yeah.
Yeah, so if we go next year, we have to plan a little bit ahead.
Yeah. And, we're going to stay there. Yes.
Yeah.
Book it before
or
they sell out.
One of the other hotels down there, so.
True.
Okay, so because the story I was going to do, that hotel, I couldn't really find much on it, so I asked Taylor for a topic.
Factual. So,
yeah, she gave me a topic, and we're going to go into some aliens today.
Yay! I'm so excited. I love this story. I'm so excited for you to tell me it.
Yeah, it's a good story. So maybe, do you know about it?
No, you can just, I do, but you got it. You fully got it.
Okay. I was going to say, if you have any, like, random things to mention.
I got you. Maybe. I'll throw it in there.
Okay. All right, so this is the story of Travis Walton, who was allegedly abducted by aliens.
Dun dun
Dun, dun,
dun.
dun.
I'm gonna get abducted by aliens.
Well, I don't know about that,
I do.
but okay. All right, so Travis Walton, he was an American forestry worker in the 70s, and he claims that he was abducted on November 5th of 1975. He was working in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest, which is in Arizona. It's near Snowflake, Arizona. And he was missing for 5 days and 6 hours.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. They had searched with scent dogs and helicopters and everything, couldn't find him for all this time. And then he randomly reappeared by the side of the road near Heber, Arizona, which is like sort of in the same area ish. Not too far from where he was abducted.
Interesting.
And after this experience, he wrote 2 books titled The Walton Experience and then another one, The Fire in the Sky. And one of them, Fire in the Sky, was adapted into a film in 1993.
Okay.
So that's sort of like a very short little synopsis of what we're going to get into.
Yeah.
So far, just with that, I'm like, okay, all right, I can see how he was abducted. He was missing for 5 days and nobody could find him.
Listen, I'll tell you what's like really common with alien stories is being abducted at some place and then being dropped off like somewhere kind of close, but like not the same spot. I feel like that's very common with aliens. So, very interesting.
Well, if you don't believe it by just that little short snippet, we're going to get into the details. So, backing up to the day of the abduction, November 5th, 1975, he was working with a timber stand improvement crew. So, like, I guess just they were just knocking down trees and doing stuff like that. In the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest, and he was 22 at the time. Which is kind of crazy. Like, all the people who were working were like our age.
Yeah, that's crazy. Except for we're 25.
No, like he was 22 and the oldest one was 28.
Oh,
so like they were
okay,
all like
okay. Yeah, that's crazy. Out there woodworking.
Yeah.
That would not
I know.
be
And then once I like tell more about the story, just think about people our age and like a little bit younger. Like it's just crazy.
Okay, I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah. Because sometimes when I'm telling these stories, like, you think they're so much older than you, or, like...
Definitely. No, definitely.
I don't know, like, this couldn't happen to you, but...
Yeah. I hope it does happen
weird. Okay. So, after work, they were riding in a truck, Travis Walton and, like, 6 of his coworkers. They were leaving for the night, and they encountered a saucer-shaped object hovering over the ground.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So they were basically just like on their way out and they saw a light, so they went over, got a little bit closer, and then they're like, "Oh my god, this is a flying saucer." And it was like floating about 20 feet off the ground and was making a high-pitched buzz.
Ew.
So that's
creepy.
Fun. Walton, he left the truck. He was the only one to get out of the truck. And he approached the light, or approached the object, and a beam of bright blue, greenish light appeared from the saucer, and it, like, knocked him unconscious.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so that's fun. And his coworkers were, like, terrified. They're like, what just happened? And they drove away. So, good people, just driving away.
No. What exactly well, they just left him. I mean, I know he was...
Yeah.
You know, honestly, they probably did it out of fear. They were probably just really scared.
Yeah.
Because I maybe would have done the same thing.
I know. That I kind of judged them at first, too. But
Me
I'm
too.
like, no, I would have been
I had
terrified.
to think about it. I was like, that's very messed up. But, no, that's really scary. So.
Yeah. So, they left. But then, like, once they sort of saw the saucer, like, fly away over them, as they were leaving. So they're like, okay, let's go back and see if he's still there. But he was gone. So, guessing it took him,
Yeah, it had to.
So he says that he woke up in a hospital-like room,
Okay.
which is cool. And he opened his eyes, and there were 3 short, bald creatures standing over him.
Oh, spooky.
Yeah. And people have said afterwards, like, with his description, these are most likely gray aliens.
Okay.
Which, like, I don't really know much about different types of aliens, but I know that that's, like, one of the common ones that people talk about.
Yeah, I would say
right?
that's probably, like, the
Like,
most common one. Like, the typical alien is, like, the gray alien.
Mm-hmm. Well, they just, like, abducting people then.
Yeah, they're just bored.
These gray ones. Mm-hmm. So 3 of them were, like, observing him. And he sort of, like, fought with them a little bit. I guess he was like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing here? Trying to get up and stuff. And they didn't talk to him, didn't say anything. And then a human with a helmet came in the room. And he took him and led him to another room. So that's very interesting that there was, like, another human there when there were these creatures. Mm-hmm. So he gets into this other room, and he says that 3 other humans were in there, and they put a clear plastic mask over his face. And then he blacked out.
Ew.
So guessing that was, like, some sort of gas or something
100%
to, like, knock him out.
was.
Yeah. And then after this, he said he found himself walking along the highway. And he saw the flying saucer flying above him, and he was, like, badly injured.
What?
And he's like, I don't know what's happening. And then once people found him and, like, he realized what was going on, like, he realized it was 5 days later. And he's like, I don't remember anything. I just blacked out the whole time.
That's crazy. I was gonna say, like, do you know how long he thought he was gone?
Well, I guess a few hours, because all he remembers is laying there and then going into another room and then getting the gas or whatever.
That's so crazy. That's so scary.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
I know. Like, I don't know why you would want to be abducted, because
Just, like, honestly, just so I could say that I have been abducted by aliens. But
that seems...
No, that's actually horrifying. And honestly, if it did happen to me, I would probably think that it was a dream. Or that, like, I don't know. I would not immediately think it was aliens. I would be like, I don't know.
But if you were gone for that amount of time, and then people were like, you were literally missing for days.
I feel like I wouldn't believe anybody. I'd be like, you're lying. It hasn't been... It has not been 5 days. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I would lose my marbles if that happened to me, honestly, now that I really think about it.
See, Taylor, I'm saying, like, you do not want to be abducted.
I just want the story, honestly.
Yeah. If it was, like, a short thing, then maybe,
Yeah.
Like, don't take me for days.
Yeah, just take me for, like, an hour, and I'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, after all of this happened, he was found and everything, and he started telling his story to people. And his story spread like crazy. It got picked up by the media outlets, and it was all over the news. The National Enquirer actually awarded Walton and his coworkers a $5,000 prize for Best UFO Case of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Which, I'm like, I didn't know that was a contest.
No, I want to win that.
Okay. Right.
That just means, like, there must be a contest for just every single thing.
Yeah, probably. So anyways, they had to do, like, a few polygraph tests to get this, just to make sure they weren't lying. And all of them passed a polygraph test that was administered by the National Enquirer and the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization. Except one of the coworkers did not pass the test, but it was inconclusive. It wasn't a total failure.
Oh, well, Then I believe that. Then they were probably just nervous. Because those tests
I know,
aren't
like,
always accurate.
mm-hmm. Like, honestly, I know polygraphs are not very, accurate, and, like, you can't trust them most of
Yeah.
the time. But I don't know, like, whenever people say they pass them, it's like,
That's
it
what I'm
really does
saying.
make you believe it.
If
Like,
they all pass them, I feel like you can believe them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And just
like,
because one
if it was
person was
sort of,
inconclusive, that doesn't mean
mm-hmm,
that they failed.
yeah. And I think if it was more, like, mixed, I'd be less likely to believe them.
Definitely.
But it was, like, all of them passed, apparently, so.
Yeah, I believe them.
Mm-hmm. And so before he was, like, found, the authorities actually thought that he was murdered by his coworkers.
Oh,
Can you
oh
believe that?
wow. I mean, I can because it would make sense, but that's crazy. That's so
I
crazy. It's
know.
a good thing he came back, or they would have been in trouble.
No, I know. Like, like that's what it seems like too, because it's like they were all working together out in the forest, and then
Right.
they come back and he's just not there. Like,
Super
okay,
suspicious.
you're in the middle
And
of the
they're
national
and they're like,
forest.
"Oh no, 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 don't worry about us. We're not murderers. Aliens took him." Like,
Right.
I don't
Like,
know.
you guys are crazy.
Literally.
Yeah. So, obviously, with every story, there's some skeptics. So a lot of skeptics will say that this was all a hoax for money and, like, fame. So one person who thinks it was a hoax was UFO researcher Philip J. Klass. And,
Okay.
like, I don't know, like, it makes me see, like, I can see both sides of this, because it makes me believe this guy, like, this guy's opinion when he's a UFO researcher and he
Okay.
thinks it's
Yeah. I
fake.
mean, yeah.
But anyways, he says that he identified some discrepancies with the different accounts that were given. So Walton and his coworkers, all the stories that they told, like, of what happened that night.
Mm-hmm.
He said that there were some discrepancies. Which,
Uh-oh.
honestly, I don't know. I feel like I couldn't find what exactly the discrepancies were, but if they were, like, something small, I can see how that could happen,
I mean,
even
for
if it was
sure.
true.
For sure. I mean, they were scared, panicking, looking at something that they've probably never seen before in their life. Like,
Right. And you don't remember everything perfectly
no,
either.
definitely
So,
not.
I don't know. So he also said that the polygraphs were poorly administered, which
I mean, okay.
I don't know.
Like, there's just
And
not a
he
lot of
said,
evidence
yeah,
against it.
it's all like, yeah, it's all like his opinion almost.
Yeah.
He also said that he thinks Walton used techniques to pass the polygraph, like he was holding his breath to have his heart rate lower and, like, stuff like that.
Okay.
So, I
Well,
mean,
I
I don't know.
mean,
And he
okay.
also,
But that doesn't prove anything.
yeah, it really doesn't. And he found a previous polygraph test that Walton had failed. But that also doesn't prove anything. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's my question to that man. Where did he go for the 5 days then?
Right. Like, did he just hide in the woods until
Right,
he's
for
like,
five
okay, I'm ready to
days.
come back out now?
And then what? He just walked to the interstate? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I don't know.
See, that's what gets me, is that he was missing for all that time and nobody found him. I mean, I guess it's hard to find somebody missing in the woods.
I
But,
mean, I guess,
like,
but his coworkers knew where he was.
yeah.
So,
And, like, wouldn't you, if you were really doing this as, like, a whole hoax, wouldn't you, like, give up after a few days? Like, 5 days is a long time to be in the middle of the woods with
yeah,
nothing.
definitely. Okay.
In November? This was, well,
That's
it's
very
also
true.
Arizona.
Well, yeah, but the desert gets cold at night.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the forest,
Wait,
but
I know that you probably have more, but I do have a theory. Should I save it for later?
um, I don't know. Let's go. What's your theory?
Okay. What if his coworkers really were trying to kill him and they like gave him so many drugs that he's like hallucinating? him getting abducted by aliens, and the humans that he's seeing are his coworkers because, like, they're doing something. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't
Oh
know
my
what,
God.
but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's thinking that he's being abducted by aliens, probably because that's the only rational thing that his brain can think of. But like, they're actually trying to hurt him or something like that. You
Yeah,
know?
I hadn't thought about anything like that. But that seems crazy.
It does, in fact, seem crazy.
But like, I feel like I don't know if they did. I don't think they like hated him enough to just kill him.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a good.
You know?
It's very true. Also, I'm sure the police asked like questions, like what did y'all do for the 5 days after? You know, I'm just saying it's a little. It could possibly be the case. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I guess anything's a possibility if we're
It's
talking
true.
about aliens here.
That's very true.
Okay. So another skeptic, Michael Shermer, he said that the polygraph was not a reliable determiner of the truth, which of course, you know, so that was his argument. He's like, you know, polygraph doesn't prove anything, so these guys are obviously lying. And then Susan Clancy, who was a cognitive psychologist, proposed that Walton was influenced by the NBC television movie The UFO Incident,
Oh,
which
okay.
had aired 2 weeks before his abduction. And this was a TV movie for Barney and Betty Hill's UFO
Yeah, story.
story.
Yeah, we covered that. I covered that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that was on TV, and she said that like he must have watched it and then was like, "Oh my God, I can make up this whole story and get famous."
Yeah.
That's what she thinks happened.
And you know, I also can't lie. I do have to say his story is pretty much identical to the Hills story of
Yeah,
what
see.
happened to them.
I don't
So,
know. I mean, but like
but like
you
if
could
it is
also say,
aliens, like obviously they're
yeah,
just doing it how they're doing it. You know,
right. Like
it could really go
that's what I was gonna say. Like
either way.
they 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 could both be telling the truth because like the aliens will just do it the same way every time.
Yeah, yeah. You
So
really, wow. That's wow. Yeah, I didn't think about it like that.
yeah, because like they probably have like a protocol to follow. They're like, we're gonna take this
Definitely.
person and do this, and it's like, well, okay, they're gonna remember the same thing because same thing happened.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's really hard to like see if anyone's lying because you know they could really just take somebody else's story, but I don't know. It's these alien abduction stories are so interesting, but it's so hard to decide.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Like, yeah. So since being abducted, he actually has turned into sort of an instant celebrity. So
Okay.
just like she was saying that he would become famous from this, and
Yeah,
he kind of
just
did.
like he wanted.
Yes. So he wrote 2 books, like I said before, The Walton Experience and Fire in the Sky, and he has a movie called Fire in the Sky. Actually, the movie, the plot of it was altered from his original story because apparently the story was not flashy enough, and the
Obviously,
movie people wanted to make it crazy.
I was literally just gonna say there is not enough story of his to even write 2 books in a movie about. Like, obviously they
I know,
can
I
add
know.
more things and make it more interesting, but like his story in and of itself like isn't necessarily like that interesting and it's not that much to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like honestly,
He is playing it
if
up
I was gonna make up,
regardless.
if I was making up a story, I might just like make it so wild. Like I don't know, you're already getting abducted by aliens. Why
That's a
not
good
make it
point.
a little bit crazy? Like these people, like he just said, I was just in a room. Like what?
That's a good point. But also on the other side of that, maybe he's like, if I make it too crazy, people really won't believe me.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I don't
Man, this
know.
is impossible.
So okay, so yeah, he has a movie, and he also goes to UFO conventions, and he sponsors his own UFO a conference in Arizona called the Skyfire Summit.
Wow.
And yeah, he has appeared on Larry King Live in 1993, and he was on the show Moment of Truth, which I have never seen this show.
Yeah, I've
But
never heard of it.
I guess they have polygraphs or something on the show,
Oh.
and he was like hooked up, and they asked him if he was abducted, and he said yes, but it said it was false.
Ooh. And
So that was controversy.
Travis.
Yeah, so I don't know. Somebody came to his defense though, saying that they're unreliable, of course.
I mean, yeah, they
So,
are. I mean, they really are.
yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And he was also on Joe Rogan's podcast in
Yeah,
2021.
he was.
So interesting. So I mentioned that he has his own conference called the Skyfire Summit,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2015, he like held this conference, and some of his old coworkers that went through this with him like were
Oh,
there.
Lord. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's some other extra things that they said and Walton said. So Walton says that he didn't realize that he would be in so much danger when he got out of the truck, and he says like if he could go back, he would just never get out.
Well, yeah.
So that's interesting to hear.
Yeah.
And he also figured that the UFO would just fly away when he got out. So he sort of got out to like get a closer look, I guess, and then it just grabbed him.
Yeah.
You know,
I
instead of
mean,
flying
to
away.
be fair, if I saw a UFO in the sky, I would also get out and look at it. And I have before when I thought I saw a UFO.
Okay. Well, there you go. You would get abducted.
Yeah, I sure would get abducted.
Okay, so some of his old coworkers, Mike Rogers, who was the boss at the time, and he was the one who was 28, so like the oldest. And he says that he regrets driving off because he was the one driving too. He regrets driving off, but Walton said that it was like the common sense thing to do, and he's like,
Yeah.
I don't blame you for doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know. So and all of them who were there that day, they said that they never really got back to normal after the incident.
Okay.
They just had to like accept what happened, like because it messed with their perception of everything.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it wouldn't me too. Like, I wouldn't know what the heck to believe. Like, I mean, I do believe aliens exist, and if I saw them in real life, it would shake me to my core. Like, genuinely. And I do believe that they are, like, real.
I know. No, it would see like it's on a different level because it's like, okay, I know that they exist, but actually seeing them would
Yeah,
be
that's,
insane.
like, completely-
I don't know what I would do.
Probably poop my pants.
And oh my god, would you?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, but anyways, they sort of just had to accept it, but also like imagine coming back from a situation like that, like your friend, your coworker gets taken by like a ship and you're like, what just happened? And then you go and tell like the authorities and they don't believe you. They're like, you're literally insane. Why are you saying all these things that you like, why are you making this up right now? And it's like, I'm telling the truth. Like that would make you go a little crazy, right?
I would be so mad. I would be furious. I'd be like, I mean, you can believe me or not, but this man's in a ship in the sky somewhere. Like,
I don't know. I feel like I would just like get too much in my head and be like, well, am I not telling the truth? I don't know, because it's like all these
Right.
people just don't believe you.
right.
You know, like I think that's the biggest part of it, that they went through this and nobody believes them.
Yeah.
And see, that sort of makes me believe it even more that all of them agree that this happened.
Definitely.
You know, and it's not
Definitely.
just him
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, I was taken." It's like all of his coworkers too. It's like
Unless
7
my
people saying that
theory-
this happened.
Unless my theory is.
I mean,
Because then
mean,
why
I don't
wouldn't
know.
they? No. That's just for funsies. I believe them. I really do believe them.
Yeah, that one's a little wild of a
It's very much so wild. I definitely believe them.
theory.
I mean,
Yeah.
where else would he have gone? Genuinely, he would have died of hypothermia if he was in those woods.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, also one of the coworkers with them, he changed his name and hid out for 30 years after this happened.
I wonder if the
Probably
government made him
because
do
like
that.
nobody believed them and stuff.
Oh,
What'd you say?
I was thinking like, what if the government made him do that? Because they know it's aliens. You know what I'm saying? Like, witness protection program.
Why would they not all have to do
Well, I
that?
don't know. I don't know. Maybe he knew more than them. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know, but that's sort of all I have on this story, but it's just yeah. I feel like I want to believe that he was abducted,
I mean, I do.
you know.
I really do.
Yeah.
That's a little bit scary. Also, who are those humans up there? That's what I want to know. Like, is
I know.
it government people?
See, well,
Or
my
is it
theory on
aliens?
that.
Oh, what?
Okay, I have two different theories.
Okay.
One theory is that they abducted these people and they either brainwashed them or like are mind controlling them to do stuff.
Okay.
Or they are aliens and they're like shape shifting.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, what if they just like looked like humans? Because it like the aliens can shapeshift. Exactly.
Right.
Well, maybe. Hopefully, you'll never find out because you don't want to. I kind of do want to find out, so maybe I will. That's crazy though. Today's gonna be a tough one because I hate mysteries. I hate not having the answers, and I hate not knowing if it's real or not. But I do really believe him. I do. I just feel like if you're lying after this many years, like why? Like what's the purpose? Like we don't even care anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like we just like genuinely, like just
Yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't be lying. So, yeah. But you had a mystery, and I today have a mystery for you as well. So,
Oh, mysterious.
very mysterious. So, today I am covering the Oak Island mystery. Da da da. So,
Oh my God, Oak Island.
Oak Island. So, if you're from North Carolina like we are, you might think that I am talking about Oak Island, North Carolina, but no, I'm not this week. I'm talking about Oak Island in Nova Scotia, Canada this week. But I will say, actually.
Oh my God.
What?
Nova Scotia is actually where, so the house that I bought, the previous owner, he actually moved to Nova Scotia.
No way.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's interesting. He moved really far
I
away.
know.
Oh, wow. He was not playing any games. That's crazy. But no, I was also going to say, though, that just last weekend, I went to Oak Island, North Carolina for the first time, and it was so nice. It was so chill. Good vibes down there.
Okay, where is it in North Carolina?
It's like right beside Southport.
Is it close to Wilmington?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, Savannah, it's like 10 minutes away from the ferry in Southport.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so close. Yeah, so I went last weekend. It was very fun. So this week, we're going to be in Canada. And I just want to also like briefly mention that I have talked just a tiny bit about the story before in my episode on Captain Kidd. And
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah,
I was
basically-
thinking this sounded familiar.
yes. So basically, yeah, Captain Kidd hid treasure like up on so many different islands like in the world, and this one, Oak Island, happens to be one of them. But basically, this little island in Canada has allegedly many treasures and artifacts, and some that have been found and others that are just like the legend says that they're on this island too. And some of those things include Shakespearean manuscripts, the Ark of the Covenant, and even the Holy Grail. Okay.
Holy Grail.
Yeah. So, just know that like if you don't know what all those things are, this is not history class. I can't go back and teach you all that. But just know that these are like very much so huge treasures that are like supposed to be missing. So the fact that people think that they're here is kind of a really big deal. You know, like obviously we all know the Holy Grail. That's a little crazy. So, as the years and years have just gone on over time, more and more things are being found. Like, so like even today, things are still being found on this island, which is very interesting. But researchers cannot seem to find like exactly where the things are coming from because there has to be a source, right? Like a main source. But they have, spoiler alert, they have dug in the main source and aren't finding, too much. So they're like, where is it coming from? So I guess, long story short, they have reason to believe, that there's treasure. So they're like, let's dig. And that is how a lot of other items have been found when they first started digging. And that has eventually, today, created what they have called a quote-unquote money pit on the island. So it's basically this giant hole on this island surrounded by all this machinery where they just keep trying to dig deeper and deeper and deeper and find more treasure. So they call it the money pit. So yeah, that's kind of a brief synopsis of what we're going to get into. But
okay, so have they found anything in this money pit?
Oh, they have found a lot of things in this money pit.
Because you said, okay, these things are rumored to be on the island, but is there proof?
There is proof. I mean, there's proof that they think that it's on the island, but there's not proof that it is on the island. No, still a mystery.
Right. Okay.
Which is what makes it a mystery. But there is like evidence that supports why it would be on the island or like how it could have made its way there. So we'll get into some of that later. But yes, they have found actual treasure too. A lot of gold. So anyway, going back to the earliest accounts of treasure on this island, there is actually, it's little verified evidence because back in the day, they didn't really have paper, to write on. So it was kind of just like word of mouth accounts. And so this is like late 1600s, early 1700s, long time ago. So it wasn't until about the 1750s when people started writing down these like stories of like treasure that's supposed to be on Oak Island. But that was like one of the first things that was written down there. Like, oh, there's treasure. So people have always said that there's treasures on this island. And so the earliest known written story of treasure was found by a settler named Daniel. And it was apparently written in 1857. And this story of like treasure involves like a dying sailor who was actually the crewmate of Captain Kidd. Also, I didn't mention it before, but that was episode 66 if you want to go listen to it. So basically, one of Captain Kidd's like crewmates was like killed. Basically, he was left to die by Captain Kidd because he, wasn't the greatest person ever. If you remember the episode. But according to that crew member, as well as many of the other ones, there is about $2 million of treasure buried on that island. And that was back in the 1850s. I did not do the conversion, but that is like big money.
Yeah.
That's severe money. If it was $2 million back then, I'm assuming it's like $250 now, at least.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge money. And so, like, his whole crew said, like, no, it's buried there. So, according to that original story, the settler named Daniel, that wrote it, said that he found this, like, depression in the land on this island in 1799 while he was looking for a location to put up a farm because he had like bought some land out there. So he was like, where's the best location for me to put my farm at? And he noticed like a little, he calls it a depression. I would say it kind of looks like a little divot. He's like, what's going on? This doesn't seem very natural. So he got two other men, his friends, John Smith and Anthony Vaughn, and they were like, let's excavate this little depression. So they start digging. And they keep digging, and the first thing they find is, they found a layer of flagstone, which is like some kind of rock. So that's what they found at 2 feet below the ground. So they kept digging under that rock. And basically, they ended up finding at every 10 feet down, there was like a oak platform. And on the oak platforms, they had these little, like, notches, symbols on them. So that's interesting. And we'll definitely come back to that. And so they obviously are getting tired at this point. They're digging feet and feet down into the ground. So they stop at 30 feet. So that means they found 3 oak platforms, because every 10 feet is one.
This is weird.
That's weird.
Like, what?
Right. Like, this is not normal. I'll tell you that. This seems like X marks the spot. Like, something is down there.
I can see why they keep digging, because somebody definitely put stuff there.
Exactly. Like,
that's not natural.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah. So, and one other reason why they kept digging is because they knew that, like, Nova Scotia and this specific island had, like, a bunch of history, but specifically during the golden age of piracy, which had, like, kind of just happened to them, it had just ended. They were like, there has to be treasure. Like, this has to be a pirate's treasure buried here. So they kind of knew what they were, like, getting into. They were like, we can't stop, won't stop. So yes, let's see here. I lost my spot. Okay, so anyways, the getting back to, like, the symbols slash notches slash whatever weird thing was, like, carved on these wood pieces. Basically, every single one of them was a different shape and a different size, but they're, like, basically just little lines and circles, little symbols. I can't really describe it other than that. So they didn't have any idea, like, what it meant. It didn't look to be, like, of any language that they knew at all, or any language at all. It just looked like little shapes. But they obviously, like, took that wood out, and we were like, we got to find somebody who knows or who can find out. But they kept digging, and eventually just got to a point where it was only dirt. So they were like, let's just stop. We're tired. We're going to have to get some more equipment other than just what we have here. So in 1803, they started trying to get together, like, a bigger group of men to really, really, really seriously dig. So it took a whole year until 1804 to get, like, this huge group of people to go back and dig, but they did it. And let's see here. The team, so all these new people, they're like, they made sure they had the best people, like, people in colleges, like, researchers, like, smart people, to try to, like, figure out what was going on. And everybody was looking at the same thing. They kept finding more planks with the little symbols on them. Nobody knew what it was. And just past the 30-foot point where they had stopped digging, they hit something solid. Okay.
Okay.
So it was, in fact, just a thicker piece of wood. But this time there were charcoal remnants around the wood. So, like, that was a little bit different. And so they're like, this is a little weird. So they keep going another 10 feet down. They find a sap-like goo substance, which is weird. And then they found these, like, fibers. And they're like, we don't really know what this fiber is from. So they keep digging. Now we're at 50 feet below the surface, okay?
I'm just thinking, like, who took the time to bury something that deep?
How did they bury something that deep? Because I'm telling you right now, these men had, like, machinery out there. How?
Right. Like,
unless...
I don't understand.
Unless, like, the beaches have built up. But honestly, the beaches are eroding. So that doesn't make any sense.
No, but they put the boards there, so...
I know.
They
it's
must
so
have
weird.
dug at least... This is just...
It's weird, man.
Too much. Because it's like...
I know.
But if you're burying your treasure here to come back and get, you're really going to take the time to dig down there to bury it, and then dig again to get it
Literally,
out
and
of the
to
ground?
dig
Like,
that far? Because we're 50 feet down now.
Like, this is
Yeah,
a lot.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Dude, it's so crazy. So, it's only going to get crazier because we're only 50 feet right now. So, the next one is 60 feet. Do you know what they find at 60 feet down? A coconut. Now you tell me.
What?
Now you tell me how 60 feet below the dirt is going to be a coconut? That was a
Yeah, no,
person.
somebody,
That was
yeah,
a
somebody's got
person.
to put it there.
That somebody put it there. So they keep digging, they keep finding stuff, and so we're now at 90 feet down, and they find their first precious stone. So it wasn't a diamond or anything, but it was a very large square cut stone tablet. Okay, and on the front of this tablet there were some strange symbols, and each character was a combination of lines, arrows, and dots. And people have tried to decipher this tablet for years, and it wasn't until the 1860s that somebody finally did it. And it read, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried, which is exactly what Captain Kidd's crew said was on there. We know somebody buried this. So they were like, okay, we got it. Like, we got it. Money's
Okay,
in the bag.
literally, this is just too much. Like, what? I just can't fathom why somebody would dig it, like,
No, me
bury it
neither.
that low.
Literally, me neither. Me neither. So, since that tablet was found at 90 feet, that theoretically meant that the treasure was at the depth of 130 feet down. 130 feet. Can't fathom that. That's a lot of feet. That's a lot. That's a serious amount. So,
Yeah.
yeah, researchers seem to believe that this tablet was made by none other than Captain Kidd himself. So basically, these men keep digging, and over time, but when they reach a certain point, at this point, it's about 105 to 110 feet down. The hole just starts filling with water, and basically that makes it impossible to dig any further, because the more they keep digging, the more it's filling up with water, and it's just like filling the hole back up. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no.
I know.
Yeah.
So, because this is such an issue, they decided to, instead of a hole, they're like, let's build a tunnel. We'll go in from the side. And so
Okay.
they got the tunnel built around 90 feet, around the same, when their machinery broke, and they had no money to fix it. So this like group of men, they were at a complete standstill, but they were very determined still to find the treasure. So they tried without the machinery, like just literally with shovels, for nearly 2 more years. And
Oh my God.
and
What?
they couldn't do it. They couldn't. Yeah. Like they like just the company that they were backed by simply did not have the money to fund anymore. Like they didn't, and they had nothing to show for all the work they had put in. So they had to give up and accept defeat. So this search was backed by a company called the Onslow Company. So the next company that tried to get the treasure was called the Truro Company, and these men started exploring in 1849. And when they first got out there, they were having the same water issue as before, but this company had some sort of like water auger that stops the flow of water, so that helped them get past that point. And so finally they were getting, closer to this treasure, right? And they hit a
Mm-hmm.
box-like object, and they were absolutely certain that like this is going to be it. And they dig, them out, and they find 3 gold chains linked together. Okay, so they were like, oh, we're getting so excited. Like, here's the start of the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the auger machine hit a platform of wood. So the box that they thought was like a box, it was instead just another platform of wood with the little symbols on it. Okay?
Oh my God.
So, but no other
Listen,
gold
if
other
I were
than
these
the little
people,
link. What would you do?
if I were these people, I'd just be so frustrated.
I would give up. I would be like, I'm
Be
done.
like, we're finally getting somewhere, but no, we're not getting anywhere.
Exactly. So, yeah, after that huge letdown that the treasure actually was not where they said it was in 1850, this company gave it up as well. They said, we're done. So, as you can guess, many, many, many companies throughout the years have bought this land and tried, for themselves to get this treasure. But no one, obviously, is succeeding, or I would not be telling you this story. So after the Truro Company quit, the Oak Island Association was created by a group of treasure hunters who like really wanted to find this. They're like, no more games. Like we're finding it, no doubt about it. So, in 1961, the Oak Island Association began digging once again, and they were taking the tunnel route. But tragically, they forgot to drain the tunnel, and a boiler exploded, which ended up killing one operator and severely injuring many more.
Oh, no.
So that was like a huge setback. But despite the tragedy, they kept on trying to find the gold for the next 4 years. But after, of course they did. So greedy. But after the 4 years, the Oak Island Association also gave up because they were like, because things kept happening, like people kept dying, and they're like, we just can't continue this anymore. Now I do just want to be clear, as they're digging, like there is an occasional like piece of gold here, piece of gold there, but like it's not enough to make up for like what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an occasional gold bit. Like they're supposed to be finding like millions of dollars in gold.
Okay, but what if whoever was burying all of this, like that's what they did. They just scattered it around. They didn't put it all.
Honestly, that's what I'm thinking too, because it has to be like it just has to be. Like there's no way it's in this hole, in my opinion. So searches have literally been ongoing in this hole since the 1700s. To this day. That's insane. That's like so crazy.
Yeah. So you could go to this place and see it, or I guess it's owned by somebody, then it's probably blocked off, right?
Yeah, so I think it is owned by a company today, but if you get permission you can go. You just have to like call somebody before. So you can go.
It seems kind of dangerous too. It's just like a big dangerous hole that you could like fall into.
Yeah, like many people have died there trying to find it too. So like it's not like don't go, but because you're honestly not going to find anything. Like these people are not finding anything. But because like this was like not the first like big treasure, but it was like the first big like everybody knew about it kind of treasure. In 1954, the Treasure Trove Act became set as a standard for regulating treasure hunting activities, which I did not know was an activity. But basically, it says that if you want to go treasure hunting, you like have permission to do so kind of anywhere you want, as long as you sign that any treasure that you find, you will give 10% to the provincial governments. So
okay, so this is just in Canada.
Yeah, I have to assume.
So I guess so you have to give 10% of your findings.
Yeah. So
well, how would they know though? How would they know?
I don't know. Like, do they do taxes?
I guess you need to report it in some way.
I don't know. I mean, like, you're gonna have to like transfer it to money in some way. Like, hi, I have this gold here. So, yeah. Okay, so, but actually, switching it around, by 1989, which is only like 30 years later after the Treasure Trove Act became a thing, it was kind of getting taken advantage of, so they tightened the rules and made it harder to dig for the treasure. So that's not a thing anymore, like the 10% to Canada rule. Yeah. So, as you can guess, the story like makes this place like a huge tourist location because obviously like people want to see and people want to see if they can find it for themselves. There's also talk that the island is haunted by the ghosts of like people who have passed by looking for the treasure. And it is also said that it is cursed and that those who dig to try to find this treasure will experience bad luck. So,
see, it's probably just the ghosts that didn't get the treasure. They died trying to find it, but these people, they're like, well, you're not going to find it if I never found it. So they give them bad luck,
Listen, it makes sense to me. It really does. So honestly, as of right now, what are your opinions, Savannah? What do you think? Where is the treasure real? If so, where is it?
See, I don't know, because why would somebody go to all that trouble of putting those boards in every 100 feet or whatever, every 10 feet, and then and like random pieces of gold if there isn't anything at the bottom? Like, why would you go to all that trouble to do that? So like
Exactly.
I almost want to say yes, but then like where is it? Did somebody already get it?
That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm saying. Because, like, if you think about it, all this high tech technology that we have today, like, there's no way we can find this treasure even today. Like, I understand the 1700s, but, like, I don't know. So, let's get into some theories that people have. One theory, that, like, a crazy theory, but it honestly kind of makes a little bit of sense, is that people think that the money pit is actually a sinkhole and or like was at one point in time, which would explain why things keep coming out of it. But like basically it's saying that the sinkhole kind of ate the treasure is what people are saying essentially. And that occasionally it'll just come up with like the ground. So I don't really know how
That
sinkholes
could
work, but
I
I
mean,
think it makes sense.
yeah, that does make sense, but I also do not know how sinkholes work. So,
Yeah, I literally put I feel like it's a long shot, but I feel like it's definitely possible. Like, I don't know.
mhm.
I don't know. I'm not really accustomed to sinkholes, but that seems like maybe it could be a thing. Um, let's just see here. Okay, so let's get into something else pretty strange. So the Holy Grail. I know I mentioned that at the beginning. Um, One thing that people like who have researched this place think that the markings on the wood possibly have something to do with the Knights Templar and Freemasonry. So basically, the original Knights Templar was a group of 9 men who swore to protect their faith, which is Christianity, and their plan was like to get a military force behind them to like back that. And eventually, like they acquired like this very elevated status within the community, and it said that they actually got possession of the Holy Grail in their travels because like people respected them or whatever. So people believe that these like symbols could be just like that's their symbols showing that that's what it is, and there's like evidence behind it, but it's the story's long enough. I was like, you just take my word for it, there is evidence, I saw it. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, I believe you.
yeah. um but yeah, but basically the evidence, it really truly does all point to the like missing Holy Grail being in Nova Scotia anyway. And so the fact that this island was like a very well known island as just like not very populated, that's why people think a lot of treasure was put there, including the Holy Grail, because they kind of thought it was a good hiding place.
See, that's so interesting because I don't know if I've ever, like, I've definitely heard of the Holy Grail, but I never really realized where it was.
No, me neither.
And I don't think I ever would have guessed Nova Scotia, like Canada.
No, I
That,
know.
I don't
Same.
know.
No, literally same. Same. Also, what's interesting is that, like, basically the only time in my life I remember hearing of the Knights Templar was in National Treasure, which I mean, like, obviously. But,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
um,
me too.
exactly. So I, like, really didn't know what it was at all. But this, like, following this train of thought and this website that I was on, some people believe that, the Freemasons, like, the Freemasons, like, today, as a group took over the Knights Templar, like their thoughts and beliefs, and that's like just like the newest evolution of the group. And I'm like, that's so interesting because I just want to know what Freemasonry really even is. Like, do you feel me on that? Like, if anybody out there wants to tell me, I would love to know. Like, my own family members won't tell me. I know it's like a secret, but I just want to know. You feel me?
Yeah.
Somebody tell
I
me.
mean, I don't know, like, I don't know enough about it to be, like, intrigued enough.
I
You
just
know?
am
Can you
curious.
follow me on that?
No, I
Because, like,
I
I don't
definitely
know.
feel you.
Like, I feel like you know more about it than I do,
No,
so
I know
you're like,
nothing
you want
about
to know
it.
more.
No, I know nothing about it. That's why I want to know more. I feel like it's very secretive, but for what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't really understand why it is secretive. Like, my grandpa's in it, and he won't tell me anything about it. I'm like,
I
just
feel like it's
why
just,
not?
since, like, so many normal people are in it, I think it's just, like, secret just for fun, you know?
Yeah, but that's
Like, there's
stupid.
not
That's what I'm
really
saying. Like, that's what
anything.
that's exactly what I'm saying. That's dumb. Just tell me the reason.
Yeah, like,
Tell me
there's
what's up.
nothing that's actually secretive like that they need
About
to
it.
keep a secret.
Yeah.
But they're like, let's just say that it's secretive so people like
So
think
people
that
like
it
Taylor just
is,
want
you
to know
know.
what it is. Yeah. No, that's
Exactly,
very
yeah.
true. Very true. So moving along, um, there is a TV show on this, as you would probably assume, of people trying to find this treasure, and it is called The Curse of Oak Island, and it is ongoing, 9 seasons so far of them trying to
Oh,
find the
wow.
treasure. Spoiler: they have not found the treasure yet. But the show, it follows two brothers who like attempt to find the treasure or whatever, and they started back in 2014, and while they have not found the major full treasure, they have found some treasures. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And some of the coolest things they found was a 500-year-old brooch, complete solid gold, and a lead cross that was dated back to the 1600s. So, like,
Huh.
I mean, listen, that's more, I mean, if I found that, I would be pretty happy. You know? Like, that's enough treasure for me, personally.
I mean, that's pretty cool. It's like some cool stuff.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
like, but honestly, I don't know if I would be happy after all of the stuff that has been done in that area to try to find these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is all you can give me.
Right. No,
It's
that's
like,
that's so true. It's so true. Um, okay. So the last and final story that I have for you about this could maybe possibly explain at least one question that we have. So basically it's a story of this British explorer named William Phipps. And the story goes that he was like obviously like on a boat, sailing through the sea, whatever. And he came across this Spanish shipwreck in 1687 that was loaded with treasure. And so he brought as much treasure like from the wreck as he could on his boat back like to England. And this is alleged, but apparently he might have used that treasure to overthrow King James II. Which I don't
what?
really know a lot about, but I was like, okay, that's a serve, sir. You go overthrow that king with that money.
Okay. What does that mean though? I'm confused.
I don't know. He's just like, I have more money than you. The throne is mine.
He
That's how
hi
I assumed
did
the conversation went.
okay, or he like hired people to
Kill
like
him? Yeah, I don't know. Do
I
something.
don't know.
Yeah, really didn't look further into it. I really should have, but
Yeah.
we'll just take it as it is. That's crazy. But regardless, Phipps knew obviously that there was more treasure to be had from that shipwreck. So he was like, let's just go back. So he did, got a bunch more treasure, and said that he buried it for safekeeping on an island that he knew about that nobody else knew about in Nova Scotia, aka Oak Island. Okay. So,
Okay.
when him and his men came back one day, years later, to retrieve the treasure, it said that just as it does today, when you try to dig past a certain point, it fills with water. So, because they could not get their own treasure out, they decided to set booby traps in the money pit instead to protect their treasure. So, could that explain why the boards are in there? I don't know necessarily how that makes them a booby trap, but like maybe that's what they thought was a booby trap in the 1600s. You know?
Maybe. Or yeah. I don't know.
So yeah, but
So they figured if I can't have it, nobody can.
that's exactly what they figured. Yeah. Which is I guess that's the pirates' way, but not my way.
Yeah.
But the only thing really that I do know from this is that it seems like just about everybody and their mama buried some treasure on this island. Some way, some shape, some form. It's on the island. Honestly, this sounds like in Halloween Town where like every you're like you're missing socks, man. Please tell me you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Like the place where all your missing socks go. That's kind of what Oak Island is. Like the place that all your missing treasure goes. You feel me? I don't know.
Yeah,
So
that's what it seems like because there's so
literally,
many different random things.
exactly. And there's also said that a bunch of unreleased plays written by Shakespeare are also there, just because apparently everybody thought that this was their island that nobody knew about, but just everybody had that same thought. So,
Okay, that's so random. Why Shakespearean plays? Like,
well, it's
what?
apparently like, I don't know, he liked to ship, like, sail through there a lot, and so people assume that that's where, and like pieces of paper have been like found, and they're like, oh, it dates back to a time, like, I don't know. There's
Okay, if they were left just on an island, they would be disintegrated by now, right?
Listen, I would agree with you. I would agree, but I don't know how they're preserved. Don't ask me.
They would have to be like in a box
Yeah, or
or
like a
like in
bottle,
something.
like a message.
I don't know.
In
Even
a
then, I don't know.
bottle. I don't know either. But yeah, that's why it still to this day remains a mystery, and that is the Oak Island mystery. Da da da.
That one's frustrating.
I know,
You're right.
it's so. You imagine me sitting here, like that's all I have for you. Like that's not all I want to have for you. I want the answers too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
I
don't have
know.
them. I don't got them. Maybe one day though. All I have to say is like literally maybe one day we'll have an update for one of these stories. Such as
Yeah,
next week when
maybe.
we come back and tell you that we saw Mothman. That's gonna be a crazy story.
I know. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
I know. I could just scream. I could scream. But if you don't mind, please go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and rate and review us, please. And also go check out our Instagram to see pictures from this week's stories. And I don't really have anything else for you. What about you?
Yeah, I don't have anything else either.
Okay, well, I guess we will see you guys next week.
All right, cue the music.